All right, we will call the July 6th meeting of the Franklin Town Council to order. And before we start, I have a couple of thank yous. Thank you to the Macon County Farmers Market for providing some extra goodies tonight, some dinner. After working all day, sometimes we get a little hungry and we really appreciate the food. Also, thank you to our staff, our town manager, and the volunteers who threw a great event on the square for the 4th of July and the 250th anniversary of our country on Saturday. We really appreciate the work you put into it.
Sabrina, as the events coordinator, really did the bulk of the work.
And where are you, Sabrina? Way in the back? All right.
Yeah, we can't hear very good back here.
How's that? Better?
Yeah,
All right. Before we get started, so I was thinking a lot about patriotism this weekend. The folks at the town asked me to make some remarks on the square. And when I thought about patriotism, you know, around the 4th of July, and especially with the 250th anniversary of the country, we celebrate the flag, we celebrate symbols and things like that, but that's not really what patriotism is to me. Patriotism is the hard work we get up and do every day for our communities. It's serving on boards, it's volunteering, it's doing public service, it's working in your church or your organization, it's coaching Little League, and it's taking care of your neighbors. But it's also when you show up for an issue like this because you care about your community. And I want to tell you that this is the most people we've had in a town council meeting. We are glad that you're here. I've been doing public service for 26 years now. Please don't do the math. This is the first meeting I've been to where I've had a room full of people who are here because they support what we're getting ready to do tonight. And I really appreciate, I'm just going to say the words, I appreciate that you give a damn about your community. So thank you for being here. All right. If you'll please stand and join Vice Mayor Mike Lewis in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do I hear a motion for the adoption of the July 6th Town Council agenda?
So moved.
Have a motion? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All right. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the consent agenda for July 6, 2026?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, now I'm going to recognize our town planner / fire chief / IT person and our newly appointed assistant town manager, Sarah Bishop, to recognize our code enforcement officer, Angela Green.
I'm going to give you guys one last hurrah.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, everybody. If you're wondering, there's 118 people in here right now. You're 10 away from the max. So tonight we want to recognize Miss Angela Green. She recently attended the It's a 3-week program stretched out over 3 months at the UNC School of Government in Chapel Hill for the Certified Zoning Officers course, or they call it CZO. So we want to recognize Angela for her passing of that course and now becoming a Certified Zoning Officer. Sarah, you want to say that?
I'm very excited to have her as our code enforcement officer. I don't know a lot about CZO yet, but I'm very proud, excited to have her certified, and she's going to be a huge asset to us moving forward. So.
Angela's been working as our code enforcement officer for a little over 2 years now. Been doing a fantastic job. Done everything from picking up signs on the side of the road, minimum housing, junk cars, nuisance yards, everything you can think of with that, and you can really see it across town, seeing town get cleaned up in different areas. Did some homes that have been that were minimum housing, have been condemned and reconditioned and then back on the market now and people living in them. So it's a very vital position for the town of Franklin. And just want to congratulate Angela on passing this course. Speech?
Angela, thank you for all you do. I have one complaint. Every time I call you about something, you're already working on it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Waiting on me.
All right, what do you want? Let's come up here
Picturing.
for me. The state sends a certificate, we don't make it.
Thank you. Y'all have fun.
All right, now I'd like to recognize the Macon County Art Association at the Franklin Uptown Gallery to present about the Plain Air Festival.
Good evening. My name's Paul Carringer. I'm the president of the Macon County Art Association, or commonly called the Uptown Gallery on Main Street. The one thing I wanted to put out today is that everybody looks at an art gallery and says it's a retail place. They just spend their money and give it back to the artist. Well, that's not true. We are a 501c3, which basically means we give money, our profits, back to the community. And today I just wanted to go through a number of things that we do, and more of them are coming and aligning with the town of Franklin Main Street. And those in particular are the ones that I wanted to review real quickly for you tonight. Before I get to that, I just want to say these are all volunteer members. We just started a new program with the Macon Program for Progress. We're working with 1 to 5-year-olds, making sure that their teachers are trained in early childhood development, giving them ideas for artwork, giving them money to support the art that they do. On the other end of the spectrum, we're also working with our senior citizens. Grandview Manor, Franklin House, and the Senior Center. Once a quarter, we have an art project for each of those 3 areas, and the response has been overwhelming, both for the artist and for the people who are engaged in the art. Moving on to Art Fest. So we schedule it for August 8th. We normally do this at the library, and we're finding that doing it on Main Street is a whole different challenge. We're learning all about how you get streets closed off and how you talk to other businesses and who those businesses are. And so it's really challenging. But the whole intent of this was the businesses on Main Street said, hey, could you do some art focus in August for us? And of course we said, of course we could. We do something at the library, we'll just move it over to Main Street. Well, at the time that seemed easy. So we're engaged in that, but the focus of Art Fest is on families. And we have 28 different art projects right now. It seems like every day it goes up 1 or 2. The handout says 828, that's an error. But it's an interesting thing that happens. The young kids come in and they're really enthusiastic, and their parents come in to watch. And before you know it, the parents are at the table doing as much artwork as the kids are. I did have to bring a show and tell. This is an 8-year-old. And this is August when he's doing this. So whatever we did in July to celebrate 4th of July and patriotism, it carries through with the kids. And he wasn't the only one. This is an 8-year-old. He wasn't the only one who came up with a patriotic theme. One of our artists ordered something from Amazon, and she didn't get what she wanted. She got a caseload of spoons. But it kind of goes to how artists work. When you get something you don't know what to do with, you come up with something that you can use it for. So Art Fest, one of the other objectives is to get people rotating through Main Street and going to the businesses and checking things out. And so what we're doing is we got these little fellows. We call them robots. So we're asking each of the stores on Main Street to put these in their stores where they want to attract customers to. And the kids and families go in and they mark a little card and come back. It's kind of like Cowie Sam. I'm hoping everybody knows about Cowie Sam. Yep. This works the same way, and we're hoping it brings a lot of enthusiasm, particularly for the kids. Plein Air Festival is scheduled for August 22nd through 24th. We're trying to say, hey, we got Pumpkin Fest, and we want you to come for Pumpkin Fest, and we want you to stay for plein air. Now, plein air painting that's a French word, and it pretty much means what it says. But it's a very popular art form right now, and it's almost like a contest. Many towns invite artists, and there's web pages that say, here's the place, and here's how it's run, and so we're doing all that, but we're inviting artists to come during these days, and we'll spread them all over the town, we'll spread them all over the county, and they will be painting pictures. It's a competition. They come back, they have a day to frame it, the next day it gets judged, the day after that, hopefully it gets sold. There will be a prize for the best building, the best painting on Main Street. So I'm looking forward to that. And there'll be an award, of course, for the best painting overall. And that's judged by a professional out of Raleigh that has a lot of good credentials. So that's Charlotte. So that's exciting. It's new for us. And we're hoping that we're kind of limiting this year to 35 painters, but we're hoping that'll expand and people will come and go all over the place. And so that's about 3 to 4 days of kind of intense activity from an artist's perspective. And the last thing I just wanted to bring to your attention is the Veterans Program. We've been doing the Veterans Portraits for a number of years now, and it's very well received. This year we decided we need to spend a little bit more time with the Veterans Associations in town. And so we've gone there, we've talked to them about what we do. But the interesting thing about this is, if you haven't attended our reception on Veterans Day, it's actually a very emotional experience. The veterans usually talk a little bit about their career, and if they don't, the family member who's representing them talks about what they remember about their mom or dad. And so it's a very uplifting, rewarding experience for both the family, the artist who paint the portrait. They almost become family themselves. And then for the community members that attend and the gallery members in total, it's one of those experiences that we always look forward to. We'll hope you all will join us for that. That concludes my brief. Pending any questions, we thank you for your time.
We appreciate you holding the event downtown. Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is our public session. That's the general. Okay. And we have 2 folks signed up to speak. First is Mark Albrecht.
Thank you. Didn't know I was going to be that early on the list, but I guess I'm here more as a concerned citizen. And a lot of you who live here, I've been here since 1977, have traveled the same road I have that I'm complaining about, that I brought to your attention. When you go to Walmart, we all know, big interchange, and the lines are not there. The only reason I'm here is because over the years, I've seen a lot of almost accidents. But what triggered this was around June 17th, 18th. I was coming out, and as someone was coming in, the person in front of me, they was gunning it, and this other one was turning and on the wrong lane, because there's no lanes, and they didn't know where they were, going into Captain D's. And it was almost a big collision. And I've seen it enough, so I called DOT, said DOT, which is real good when you call about a down tree or a pothole, they fix it next day or take care of the tree. Anyways, so DOT informed me that that is not, Berry Boulevard is not a county, state road. It's private. And that okay, so it's not in their jurisdiction. So he suggested call the town of Franklin. So I called Justin, and he said, I need to come here, because maybe you all can do, because I'm just a person, if I try to call the Seafood Incorporation, Andy Berry Corporation, the Franklin Commerce LLC, Walmart Real Estate LLC, they're not going to listen to me. But the town has authority, and you've all driven that and seen that road, how bad it is, and it's not, it needs to be taken care of. So I'm just here, I thought, well, I'll just go and give it a shoot. Everyone thinks Walmart or the Hammond just because they're big and famous and multimillionaires. Well, they all need to pitch in, but it's not my job. I called another problem. The Napoli Riverwalk LLC. Riverwalk, Broadwalk. Well, they got a bad stop sign there. It's not even a stop sign. It's like a blubber of milky whatever on top of it. Well, and that's why I decided to, try to find what to do about it. Because I called him a couple years ago, because I known John and didn't talk to him, but I told him about the complaint. Well, a year or so later, it's still bad looking. But the town can do something about it, I would think. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Daniel Walton.
How's everybody doing? Didn't realize I'd be talking in front of this many people today. I put in my application to be on the board of Tourism and Development, and I'm decked out in the kilt in the American Dream tartan, and I'm gonna throw you out a little American Dream I have here. Last little dream I had, I got together with a bunch of people and we made the skate park happen in town, which I think has been great for having a productive thing for young people to do with their time. The bowling alley and the skateway went away, and we got something that, if you go there any given Saturday, that place is packed to the brim. This next thing, if I was able to move in and be on with Tourism and Development, I'd want to expand. Culture and heritage tourism is huge right now, and we're in a perfect place having the Tartan Museum downtown. And also the Scottish Festival, which this year I moved in to be the vice president of Taste of Scotland. And there's a lot of expanding that I've done thus far, but I feel like there's a lot more we can do. And you look at the examples around us of Cherokee, of Helen in Georgia, and Celtic culture, Scottish in general, is so huge to the founding of Franklin and Southern Appalachia in general. I'd like to, and I've got a lot of ideas. I'm not going to give them all here now, but if y'all take me on, I have some ideas to, boost tourism and development through this heritage tourism that seems to be booming right now, and a few other ideas outside of that, but that's my main focus, and that's about it. Thank you for the consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. All right. Somewhere in the back behind you all is our tax collector.
Do I need to take 5% of everybody in here? Gotta put out real fast. Do you need me?
All right. The next item is a resolution for your reappointment. Reappointment of the town tax collector, Sabrina Scruggs.
Resolved as say something they don't know.
By the way, Sabrina is the best tax collector in all of the town of Franklin. Whereas the town council for the town of Franklin has the duty to collect payments of property and other taxes to the town pursuant to Chapter 105 of the North Carolina General Statutes, and whereas the town council is required pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 105-349 to appoint a tax collector and to fix the term and amount of a bond to be furnished for said tax collector's honest and faithful performance of duties, and whereas Sabrina Scruggs has heretofore faithfully and honestly performed the duties of tax collector on behalf of the town of Franklin, therefore be it resolved by the town council the following. Sabrina Scruggs is appointed to serve as the tax collector for the town of Franklin. The term of said appointment is to be 1 year, to expire on the 6th of July 2027. The amount of the bond to be furnished to the town of Franklin pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 105-349 shall not be less than $25,000. I would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution to reappoint Ms. Scruggs.
Make that motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Congratulations. All right. Item B, resolution of the town of Franklin establishing required attendance policy for appointed boards, authorities, commissions, and committees. This is a resolution that I asked to be introduced. Some of our boards are volunteer boards. Some of our boards receive a stipend, and I think it's important that if you're going to serve on a board, that you meet the minimum of at least an attendance requirement, that you show up. And that's especially true if we're spending taxpayer dollars to pay you to serve on the board. So, y'all didn't know you're going to get to listen to so many resolutions tonight. Whereas the town of Franklin recognizes that the effectiveness of appointed boards, authorities, and commissions and committees depends upon the active and consistent participation of their members, and whereas regular attendance ensures that members are informed, engaged, and able to fulfill their duties in representing the public interest, and whereas it is in the best interest of the town of Franklin to establish clear expectations for attendance and participation, now therefore be it resolved by the town of Franklin Town Council that all appointed boards, commissions, and committees shall have the following attendance standards incorporated into their bylaws and/or rules of procedure. Attendance requirements. Members of the board are expected to attend all meetings of the board. Failure to attend at least 75% of the regular meetings in any calendar year or any 3 consecutive meetings shall be considered grounds for recommending removal of the member to town council, unless extenuating circumstance dictate otherwise. Consideration of circumstances shall be made by the board before recommending action to the town council. Remote participation. The board recognizes there may be times when the physical attendance to a meeting may not be possible due to conflicts. Rather than risk a lack of quorum, remote participation is allowed. On or before the day of the meeting and at any point before the meeting begins, the requesting member must notify the board chair or vice chair if the requesting member is the chair that he or she is unable to physically attend the meeting and the reason why. Remote participation shall be limited each calendar year to not more than 2 meetings. Voting on matters before the board is permitted with remote participation. Remote participation can be via telephone or video. Voting by proxy, there shall be no by proxy voting allowed for action items before the board. Excused absences. Absences may be excused for illness, family emergency, unavoidable work obligations, or other circumstances approved by the chairperson and recorded in the minutes. The group must formally vote to excuse an individual from the meeting. Reporting and monitoring. Attendance shall be recorded in the official minutes of each meeting and reviewed by the town clerk or designated staff. Non-compliance. Any member failing to meet the attendance requirement without sufficient cause shall be subject to removal and replacement by the town council of the town of Franklin as the appointing authority. Be it therefore resolved that a copy of the appointed board, authority, commission, or committee bylaws and/or rules of procedure shall be provided to the town council and town attorney for review and approval to ensure compliance with this attendance policy. This resolution shall be effective immediately upon adoption and shall apply to all current and future appointees. Do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, item number C is the appointment of Councilman Jeff Berry as the co-liaison to the Franklin ABC Board to serve along Council Member Joe Collins. There seemed to be a little confusion at the ABC Board as to what Mr. Berry's role was there as an alternate liaison, so took the liberty to appoint him as a full co-liaison. Is there any documentation we need with that?
No, your appointment and then the letter that we have to sign.
Okay, great. All right. Item number 9A is a call for public hearing on Monday, August 3rd, 2026 at 6:05 p.m. or closely thereafter to gain public input on a rezoning of 13.66 acres at 85 Maple Street from commercial C2 to commercial C2 conditional zoning. We will hear now from the fire chief / town planner / IT guy, Justin Sexton.
There's me running away.
Oh, you gave him too much, he was running away.
Yeah, just asking for a public hearing for next month for this is a conditional rezoning. It's 1.10 acres.
Get 1366.
It's OHNC LLC. Planning board has reviewed this and gave their recommendation for rezoning. They're since requesting to build 2 townhomes and lower the minimum lot size and be able to build within some of the setbacks. You should see in your packet what, the packet, the zoning letters, the conditions that they're asking for, on top of allowing the town of Franklin future sidewalk along the property on Maple Street, the site map, and all the consistency statements and recommendations from the planning board that was approved at their June meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Setzer. Do I hear a motion to approve a call for public hearing?
Yes, I'll make that motion for Monday, August 3rd, 6:05 or 7:09.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I have one comment. I think this is a good rezoning. It's in an area that should have more density, and it's across the road from a grocery store. When we get sidewalks in there, it'll be a very walkable area, so I'm glad this is before the council. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Seltzer. All right. Item number 10A is a public hearing to gain public input related to an ordinance establishing a temporary moratorium on new data center development within the town of Franklin's planning jurisdiction. I'm going to take the liberty to talk a little bit before we open the public hearing to tell you that there is not a member of this board up here who wants to see a data center inside the town of Franklin. I'm going to call on our town attorney. So I understand that there's some concern that, okay, you get a moratorium, but what happens after that moratorium? I've heard that concern. So I'm going to call on our town attorney, Mr. John Henning, to explain the reason there's a time limitation on the moratorium, and then what we can do as a town council to make sure that we don't have a data center in the town of Franklin. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo your thanks for all the interest that has turned out here. Usually when I say I have a town... Did everybody hear me now? I don't know. Okay. Usually, Mr. Mayor, when I say I have a town meeting, it's not the whole town. So it is gratifying to meet everybody all at the same time. As you said, Mr. Mayor, the purpose of this is absolutely not to encourage data center development. It is the one way that you can explore how you can control and ideally discourage that kind of development inside the town. There are legal constraints, and it's the whole reason we brought this up to begin with. For starters, we have got solid case law in the state of North Carolina that says if you have a zoning regulation that doesn't define a given use, you cannot say if it's not specifically allowed, then it must be disallowed. Your old zoning ordinance used to say that, and it's not enforceable. So somebody turns up and says, I want to plunk a data center down here. Where's your definition of it? If you don't have one, you're really up a creek. And so we didn't have even a good definition of what it is. We can now take, and so the timeline that we have is a reasonable amount of time to study the issue, to determine what kind of zoning regulations. Zoning regulations are meant to preserve the health, safety, and welfare of your citizens. They do that by looking at land use and how it is compatible with neighboring uses. So we can look at how to prevent super loud things that are close to where anybody lives. We can look at how you would say if you're going to bring one of these things in, it's got to cool itself and it can't draw all the town's water out. It's got to provide its own energy so that we're not all impacted by a local drain on resources, and that when the way they provide it is not bothersome in and of itself, because I think in some places they've done that only to find a whole bunch of diesel generators. We don't currently have any regulations that let us do that, and if somebody had showed up with an application for zoning that says, here, this is where I'm going to put my data center, before tonight an adoption of this ordinance, we'd have been in a tough spot to prevent it from happening. So that's what this lets us do, is to say nothing right now. We're going to study it. We're going to determine how to prevent it from impacting folks if there ever was one. And I should think we have said, but I should stress, we don't have any application for one, and we should all be thankful we're not dealing with a live issue, that we don't have one, don't anticipate one, but if you ever get one, I want the town to be as ready as possible to control whatever might happen.
That's not a good answer.
So
if there's one in our town, that's not a good answer. We don't want a data center in here. If when it happens, that sounds scary, brother.
Yeah, I understand.
That sounds scary.
I understand, but
that sounds really scary.
I understand.
Our town manager was quoted on a public thing.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Sorry, sir.
If you want to speak, you can sign up for public session. Thank you.
I understand it's scary. And the fact of the matter is, we weren't anywhere in being ready to deal with it at all. If there was something that I could suggest to this town council that would just prevent them, I would have brought it to you. You would have seen them all over the state of North Carolina and all over the country. But what you're seeing instead is moratoria just like this, because it is the best legal mechanism we have to address it.
Can you just reiterate and explain a little bit better? We can't, I would love to outright ban it, but we can't. You're not allowed. You're not allowed by law to do that. So we have to find a way. If they're going to come, then we need to make sure it doesn't use our water, use our electricity, and keep our neighbors up with noise.
That's right.
We have to make sure that it's going to be as low impact as possible, and that's what this board, I promise you, is committed to doing.
Low impact. Low impact.
You can't have no impact. It's not legal.
Then we
Then
can't
represent
have
us.
Not
We
just
don't
the
want it.
town, but the county.
Okay,
Well, you need to be, then that's another thing we need to reiterate to you. This would only cover the town and the ETJ. Out in the county, that's the county commission. And you'll need to speak to them. They'll need to be inspired to do something.
and let me speak a little bit to this. It's not only the county commission, you need to be talking to your state legislators, because I'll tell you something that's really disappointing when you run for office and you get in this seat. You find that almost every time you turn around, the state legislature is passing laws that limit the kind of power that we have to protect you from things like data centers. So you need to be reaching out to them, because as the attorney explained, we are very limited in what we can do for you. But I can guarantee you that we're going to find a way to make sure that it is virtually impossible to do it in the town of Franklin. We're committed to it.
We don't need it in the county, period.
Well, then you need to show up at the county commission meeting and tell them that. Absolutely.
I mean, y'all guys make laws, you can make a law to prohibit this, like these flock cameras are coming up.
You need to go tell Macon County what you're telling us here tonight. And I'm gonna say something else too. One of the things that we talked about tonight was putting this public hearing at the beginning of the meeting. And I told my council that I would not entertain a motion to do that. And one of the reasons I didn't want to do that is because I wanted you to sit through one of our meetings and understand that we operate a whole lot differently than some other boards do in this county. We're here to listen to you, we will listen to you, and we're here to serve you. It's a different kind of environment here at the town of Franklin. I'm proud of this board for that. I'm going to say something else. If when these issues come up, if you have questions, if you have concerns, my number and my email, it's all over the internet, which is a good thing most of the time.
What's your phone number?
828-371-1754.
And you'll answer this phone?
I will next Monday. I will not between tomorrow and next Monday. But you call me next week, I'll answer it. A lot of times, so I'm going to talk about something that I think is not fair. One of our staff members was called out on Facebook for being in favor of the data center, our town manager in particular. What our town manager did was to point out to us and warn us that there are 2 or 3 parcels in the town of Franklin and our ETJ that are big enough that could house a data center. When she told us that there were 2 or 3 parcels, that's what she was trying to do. And I think it's really unfair that she was called out on Facebook for that. I think it's unfair that this board has been called out, because we've been thinking about this for months now. How, under the constraints of what we're allowed to do by the state of North Carolina, how do we make sure this doesn't happen in Franklin? So that's why I want to encourage you. You go on Facebook and say whatever you want to, but give me a call. Or give any of our staff members a call. They'll talk to you.
Man, guys, the reason I asked you for your phone number, I ain't going looking for it, because I'd rather talk to you personally. The fact that we're here even talking about this, I mean, somebody's
getting their pocket line somewhere, and there's a good chance I have one.
I can tell you that there ain't nobody sitting at this table getting their pocket
I
line.
ain't accusing you guys of nothing. I'm not. I mean, but the fact of the matter is.
All right, we're gonna move into the public hearing. But before we do that, I'm gonna give each council member a chance to speak to this issue. We'll start with Mr. Perry. Mr. Thompson.
Like was reiterated, I want this place to be somewhere that is a priority for family, for jobs, for recreation, and for visitors. And a data center isn't for any of those things. It only takes from all of that. So like has been reiterated, I want this to be something that we are going to make as legally as possible, dang near impossible, to what we can. So because I want these to be the priority, and I also want to see this representation for when we talk about family recreation, things that we can do for this town. It'd be really great to see this representation for that as well. So thank you.
I just wanted to say I'll do everything I can possibly do to keep us from having a data center. There is no reason to have one in Franklin, and we will work as hard as we possibly can. But you do need to talk with the county commissioners, and you do need to talk to our House representative and our Senate representative here in the state of North Carolina. We have got to reach out to all those folks and say this is not what we want or what we can have in our community. It's just not what we need and not what we want. So in addition to us, please speak with the county commissioners and with our representative and our senator.
Mr. Hickton.
I'm going to be the Breda. If anybody knows anything about me, as much as I hunt and fish in this county, I do not want to see anything interrupt the rivers, the peace and quiet this community has. So, that's a hard no.
We can't hear you.
That's a hard no.
Having been on the board basically since '97, mayor for 10 years and a practicing lawyer, I'm very sensitive to the fact that we a lot of times cannot just say no, because the law won't allow you just to automatically just say no. You can do certain things, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to take them to as far as we can, because nobody on this board, and you all, if you want the moratorium, you might not be brave enough to speak up tonight, but I can tell you that all in our power, that's what we're going to do to keep one from coming into our area, which is the town, and the ETJ, which is about 3 miles on the outside. We have no authority to speak to the remaining part of the county.
All right, thank you, council members. We're now going to open the public hearing. In the interest of time, we want you to take about 3 minutes to speak. All right. Our first speaker is Judy Hartley.
Fast talker. I do want to say that I appreciate the lawyer explaining that. I appreciate everybody saying that they don't want the data center. I appreciate you for explaining that you know we have to have that in writing, if you will, that they can't do that. I just want to say really, before we build anything in the town or wherever, I was thinking the county too, we have places that need to be fixed. We've got the Kmart Plaza, which no one's there, the old Ingles by Holly Springs. So my point was that, you know, we need to bring industries for stable jobs for our young people. So that all being said, there are a lot of disadvantages. Now I know you said something about the utility bills and the water and all of that. I don't know how you can keep that. They take a lot of water. They make a lot of noise. They use a lot of electricity. And I don't know how, if somebody came in here and said, we're going to do this, how you or the town is going to say, well, you know, you have to make your own. They have huge industrial generators that make lots of noise and even light pollution. And they have toxic waste that go, I don't know where, according to what I did. And a lot of people say, well, you know, when you have the data center, you have jobs created. Not really. They build the unit, but after that's done, I've heard of a place somewhere out west or in the middle west that only 1 or 2 people actually have a job after that. The computers are doing all the work. And you know, when you're talking that they use 5 million gallons of water per day, and some places that have these that are doing moratoriums, I assume for the same reason we are, but as soon as the moratorium is done, they build it. But they're facing drought, they're facing groundwater issues. I had really thought about the noise and the pollution that those huge generators, I don't want one, I mean, I don't live in the town, but I wouldn't want to live next to one. And we really don't know what they generate. We really, truly don't. They're going 24/7. They have security lighting all the time, so if you're by one, that light's on all the time. And there's a lot of toxic waste, and I did not, in my research, find out where that toxic waste goes to. I don't know if it's managed and hauled off. It doesn't really say. But our beautiful town needs to do whatever we can to one of them said that we can't legally say no. Well, we have a year, is that right? That's what this moratorium is? We have a year to find a way legally to say no. I mean, it's that simple. I don't know how it is. I'm glad that you all are working on it, but you know, I'm glad to hear, I mean, my note says in big letters, do not allow this, please. And you've all been very forthright that you don't want it. So you've answered that question. I will be saving my notes to go to the county commissioner office, which I was told the next meeting is Tuesday at 6:30 at the courthouse, and that's where we can all go. That's what we're going to do. Because we will be in touch with them, but I appreciate your time. Thank you.
6 o'clock. My question is,
One correction, it's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, Tuesday.
Where? Macon County Courthouse.
No, not tomorrow, next week. Okay.
Yeah. All right, our next speaker is R.E. James, is that correct?
Rob.
I'm sorry, Rob.
Real quick, I'm gonna get out of here. This Tuesday meeting, you have to sign up somewhere to be heard?
At the courthouse?
When you get there.
Where do you go to sign up?
That's a photo.
County Courthouse. All right, Mr. James.
First, I want to say I thank you all for standing up for the town as much as you can to keep data centers out. Obviously, I've come to speak in favor of a data center moratorium. I was a worker in the tech field. I keep up what's happening in the computer industry. For the last several years, I've watched as tech CEOs have lost their minds and sold their souls trying to sell everyone on the bright AI-powered future. What they tend to gloss over is the cost of this inevitable bright future. These same CEOs are doing to small towns what the coal companies and industries of the recent past did to towns just like ours. Bulldozing our forests, overdrawing and poisoning our water, exploiting our friends and neighbors. I've seen so many reports from towns near newly constructed data centers where the wells and creeks are going dry, and the water, when it returns, is replaced with murky, PFAS-laden cooling system discharge. I've read testimonials from people who live miles away being unable to sleep through the night due to the constant noise, light pollution, and heat generated by these data centers. I've heard from locals who were sold new job opportunities only to find out that the new data centers that replaced the farm or destroyed the forest will only have a couple dozen permanent on-site staff. For us, this would mean that our nature tourism, our dark skies, all of the wildlife that we have here would all be permanently affected and most likely would be driven off. It would destroy a lot of our town's income. Something else to consider when making a decision is the actual future of these data centers. AI does not make money. There is literally a website called isaiprofitablyet.com. That's it. And if you go there, you will see in big, bold letters, no. And they will show a graph of how much money has been spent by each one of these companies and how much money they're actually making. The only people making money is NVIDIA, because they're selling the computer chips to these data centers. But the thing is, all of that is propped up with IOUs. Let's see. It has never made money. In its attempt to turn a profit, it's destroying itself. The last several months, I've seen companies like Ford and IBM's attempts to replace people with AI run into the hard reality of rate increases, lackluster performance, and all this has done is to discourage investors and customers alike. This could mean that if we allow a data center in our county, in our town, we will be abandoned in the next few years, even if it's finished before this bubble actually pops. Now, like I said, I thank you guys for standing up and saying that you are not in favor of this data center. I just wanted to put that out there on the official record and hopefully help people get a little more informed about the realities of what's going on with this. Thank you all.
Next, we have Matt Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
Oh, I should not have looked back there. There are a lot of people here. Holy cow. Yeah, so like they said, the county commissioner meeting is next week, Tuesday, 6, and I would love to see half of you there. That'd be amazing, because they don't have it in the books to prevent this kind of thing. There are certain things that they have. It's not good enough. All right, so first off, thank you for putting this together and holding this, putting the moratorium on the table. Greatly appreciate that. What part of me would love to see is that we could put a 100-year moratorium, but I found out that's illegal. North Carolina State does not like that. But what is possible, and what I think is essential, is that we use this year wisely. Instead of spending our limited time and staff energy on finding cost-benefit analysis to this, we instead spend it refining and tightening our development ordinances to set a clear example for Western North Carolina. Franklin, as well as the ETJ, will never be the place for large, high-impact data centers, or small impact data centers. We can tighten that in too. As a realtor, I can tell you that buyers do not ask, where's the closest data center? It's a deterrent. People try to move away from that sort of thing. So my request is very simple. Of course, pass the moratorium. I think it'd be career suicide if you didn't. And then commit to the next step of putting into our code that these projects are not an allowable use on our land or natural resources. So Franklin can stay a place of rivers and ridgelines and not of data centers. Yes. Thank you.
All right, next we have Michael Scarborough.
At this point, anything I'm going to say has kind of been said over and over again. I've worked in IT for 40 plus years. I've seen IT change through that 40 plus years. There's this law called Moore's Law. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Moore's Law, but basically it says that technology and knowledge will double every year, meaning that a data center built today will have at best a 10-year life. And then they will have to level it and put something else in, or you end up with an eyesore. That is the only point that I had, in addition to what's out there. And I will say that I am fully in support of the moratorium and think we need very strict zoning to stop these kind of things, because it's more a sales deal that they package as a big benefit for tax benefits for the cities and communities. Those tax benefits will never reach us, because they will make deals on it, on how they get done, and give them breaks to do it. And it will never reach the county. As the other person mentioned, like I said, I've worked in IT for a long time. They don't employ anybody. The jobs that will be there will be security jobs and routine maintenance jobs. All the IT jobs will be remote jobs. The high-paying jobs will not be bringing any money to this community. We'd be better off, which I'm not in favor of, we'd be better off letting Amazon put a distribution center there. At least it would generate real tax dollars and real jobs. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, City Council, for the chance to speak.
Next we have Natalia McElroy.
Hello. Note to self, be first so your whole speech doesn't get repeated. So I'm not going to repeat, it's a lot of crossing off now. I just want to say thank you to this board just for being so proactive in this fight against the data centers. Understand that we're all obviously on the same page trying to figure out what we can do. One thing that I did want to share was Franklin. So one thing I've written down is that Franklin should learn from other communities before any permanent changes are made. Charlotte, Asheville, Holly Springs, Chatham County, and others have moved toward moratoriums or restrictions because they recognize that existing zoning rules were not designed for the scale of development. So one thing to know is potentially see if there's ways that we can collaborate or learn from these other towns. If we can all unite, we can all learn from each other, probably find out what restrictions they've been able to place, if we're still all kind of working towards, within the state of North Carolina, if there's anything else that we can learn, hopefully get us there, to the goal of not getting these things in place. And then, like everyone has said, we do have 1 year with this moratorium, obviously in support of that. What else can we do during this year, like others have mentioned, to really just think through what can prevent this, how can we get to a 100-year moratorium, becoming more active at the county level, becoming more active with our senators. I think there's been emails I've sent out to some of our representatives which have gone unanswered, so I think we all just need to become squeaky wheels. I think it's the most important thing we can do right now while we still have the chance that no one's eyeing Franklin, so we kind of can continue to stay invisible to these actions and these proposals. That's all I got. Thank
you. Next, we have Michelle Montague. Did I pronounce it correctly? Montague.
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me back there? Yeah. Okay. I do have one question before we're going to start for the attorney. Can we get a 5-year moratorium? What's the legal, I know 100-year, and we'd love that. Can we do a 5 or 10?
Well, there's possibility of extension of it depending on where we are in our process. It's a kind of what the statute says is that you have to show you have been studying the issue, so we can't, this is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's not limited to 1 year necessarily, but it is the kind of thing that for the defense of the town, we have to show that we are studying the issue and moving forward. The end result needs to be regulations that make it extremely difficult or expensive in a defensible way legally. And so that's what we'll be looking at how to do.
Exactly. Okay, so my first concern is I am not in Franklin proper, where I'm in the outlining. So the meeting's next Tuesday?
Yes.
Yes, next Tuesday night. Can you guys put a link or something on your page for us? Do you have a page that we can access that information so we can get there?
If you go to MaconNC.org, MaconNC.org,
okay.
Yeah, you'll see the schedule for the county commission.
Okay. Okay, great. Currently, do we know the cost involved in the research that we're having to put out to just have this moratorium? Because there is very limited information out there. I mean, there's a lot of information, but we don't know the effects on towns, the people, their farm animals, the wildlife. We don't know that yet.
In terms of studying the regulation, the last speaker was quite right. We're going to band together with other communities that are looking at the same issue. And so the cost is it's kind of spread up across all of us working together. That's what I would say.
Is it possible in this moratorium to define, based on research, I guess our intentions of having a longer moratorium? I mean, can we go in saying, we'll research now, but we would like a 5-year moratorium?
We can look into it.
Yeah, because that would, I mean, at least things change so fast, but a lot of bad information is suppressed sometimes. We don't know the effects on these small towns. And then the outlying areas, because, a lot of us live on dirt roads, and, we're not in the city proper. I am mostly concerned about the animals. I mean, besides us and the noise, their hearing is, remarkable. And the horses and the farm animals and just our pets, the effects of the data center. But I look forward to going to next week's meeting. And I thank you very much for all your work you've done so far.
Thank you. Next, we have David Medlock.
Well, I had things prepared to say, but everybody else said them already. So I think it's pretty well known. I do appreciate this being on the table for discussion. I've been in IT for longer than I want to enumerate, but I'm actually going to disagree with my colleagues in IT that I think they're optimistic that a data center would be out of business in a few years. I think it's permanent. I think once it's here, it's here. And you're going to have a hard time getting rid of it. And if somebody wants to put one here, they will do and say whatever they want to. And so I appreciate the transparency. I hope that continues as the process continues through with the moratorium, the research. I think we'd all like to see how that progresses and get regular updates. You might fill this room more frequently given those kinds of updates, but I really appreciate it. And for everybody else, as has been mentioned, show up to the county commissioners, send emails to the county commissioners. Their emails are available as well. Let them know how you feel about this because, Franklin can only do so much, but there's a lot of land in the county. And there's a lot of land in the county for sale. And somebody might look and say, hey, you got lots of rivers, you got lots of water available, and that might be a good place to put it. But then it ends up next to somebody's farm, ends up next to a neighborhood. Maybe it takes up space that could be turned into a neighborhood that's got affordable housing. So I appreciate what you're doing there. And again, I think the more that everybody else in this room can do, emailing county commissioners, email our state representatives. I know that Representative Gillespie and Corbin have made statements that they think that these decisions belong here, not in Raleigh. But I think that we need to make sure that they hear those voices, that they hear that, that decision belongs here, and you make sure Raleigh stays out of it. You make sure we have control over what happens in our communities. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Next, we have Terry Pensabene.
That's right.
Did I get that correctly?
You did.
All
I'm
right.
very proud of you. Mr. Tatum Line. Hi there. I'm so relieved to hear that you as a group are against it. No offense, lawyer, but I think it's delusional to think that they would come in and could promise us they wouldn't have impact. They're liars. I hope that the year is spent really well researching how we can stop it. And I agree with everything everyone else said, so I will just be brief. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa Salisbury.
Hi. I want to thank everybody here. I really appreciate, being part of this, and I think everybody else is too. And, I really didn't know what to expect, so I just really thought it was like a voting thing. So I just wanted to let you know that I thank you, and I really think about our children, really. That's going to be their water. It's going to be everything. And I came from Gates County, North Carolina 2 years ago. And it was a beautiful place, but we wanted to come up here and to hear that this could happen. It's just devastating. It's scary. And trying not to get too emotional, but I feel everybody's emotional about it. So I just thank you, and I hope that it does stay, it doesn't come here. Because I have grandchildren that just love this place. I mean, they go hiking everywhere, and they're gonna eventually one day have my home, and I want them to have a good place to live. But I thank you. Thank you very much.
John McLean.
Thank you, everyone. Well, I used no AI to rate this afternoon. For transparency, I'm a local commercial photographer. I use image processing program Adobe Lightroom, which is a very low bandwidth AI tool within its non-AI core. Rather than a low-hanging fruit compared to the large-scale nefarious uses these data centers are driving. There's plenty of information online if you want a more in-depth view. Besides data, what else it creates is an environmental disaster. Our most valuable assets here and in many parts of the world are the natural resources along with the beauty and habitat they provide. Once built, they've forever scarred our pristine landscape and surroundings. What unlucky people and wildlife near these monstrosities deal with is air, water, and sound pollution. That's if you haven't lost your property to eminent domain. Please watch We Saw What AI Data Centers Don't Want You to See on PBS Terra YouTube channel. We need to resist this expansion into our areas at all costs. Thank you.
All right, next we have Nathan Panel.
Thank you for letting me speak to y'all tonight. Y'all really threw me a curveball because I thought at least a few of you would, be on the fence or whatever. I consider myself a redneck, and yeah, like Blair Mountain redneck. And I can't believe I'm saying this about a government, but I'm proud of y'all. This is my home. I love it. It ain't perfect. Appalachia ain't perfect. We have a history of good and bad and ugly. We've had some bad times. And all these people here are my neighbors. I love them. I try to love them as I do myself. Difficult sometimes, we're Appalachians, we're hillbillies and everything. And I guess what I want to do right now is I really want to kind of shift the focus back to y'all for just a moment, based on one of the things that was said, that their hands are tied, really and truly. Raleigh and the federal government has really tied their hands about what can be done, what they can do for us. But what every politician wants is a vote. And if we all band together, we can keep these data centers, not just out of Franklin, not just out of Macon County, but out of Appalachia, period. But we have to organize, we have to say, we ain't gonna vote for you, we ain't gonna show up to no jamboree, whatever, for you. We're gonna withhold our vote, and we're gonna go and give it to people who are gonna take care of us, protect our communities, protect our country, because AI is a bone saw. NAFTA was a scalpel to get rid of American manufacturing. But AI is a bone saw to amputate the working class's legs off. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. That made me a little emotional. Timothy McGee.
I'd like to thank you, Mayor and City Council, for allowing me to speak. And I'd like to say that I'm like-minded with y'all because I don't like the data centers being in Franklin. I am just from Maryland. I'm around Franklin. I don't want them in Franklin, Macon County, and even the state of North Carolina, even though we have them in the state. And there's two issues. There's water. And the state of North Carolina has a drought right now. Some places severe drought. And I know in Franklin there is a moratorium for water usage. So that is part of it. And the other part is the electricity that's needed. It's, I even heard that Duke Energy is thinking about either 13% or 18% increase in fees. I'm wondering if that's because of the data centers or they're going to have to pay more. But the opponents think of it, okay, what about your phones? What about your computers? I bought this phone thinking it was going to solve a problem. It wasn't that, it was an Apple situation in it, where I spend hundreds of dollars to do nothing. And then they say, oh, what about your computers? Oh, but Windows say, oh, you got it. They're not going to allow back things for Windows 10. No, nothing for that would go to Windows 11. But some people got Windows Vista, and it's just fine with them. And I thank you all for supporting this moratorium. Hopefully it goes more. And hopefully a solution will be like, they talk about eminent domain. I think maybe reverse eminent domain. And I say, I hate to say the word, kind of communism, but I think it's kind of that. I don't like that protection, but I like the back to blue. The ladies and gentlemen, back to blue. I like that. That's my protection. Thank you. And they said, that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Leland Shockley.
I just want to thank everybody for their time. Just proud to see that everybody on this board is against data centers in our hometown. Ms. Owens, I know you're a town manager, and there was a post on Facebook made about you in the What's Happening in Franklin group and another news outlet quoting you saying that the town manager said that we've not been approached yet, but we have large enough parcels of land within Macon County and in the Franklin ETJ that would accommodate data centers here in Franklin.
The question was posed to me from the media is, are there sites big enough
Yes,
for an article?
And you're saying there are as our town manager?
There are sites big enough, yes, sir.
And where are those sites? So as a town, we can be informed
They're
where,
in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the town.
and where exactly is that for people who don't understand that? Where exactly is that in Franklin?
You can look at it on the GIS system for Macon County. It's privately owned land, and I'm not going to share that information for individual parcel owners because they have that information out there already.
Words have meaning, and the word accommodate sounds like you're in favor of them coming here. You want to accommodate them.
I have no vote in this. I am an employee. These people up here are the only ones who vote on whether or not this happens. I was providing the facts to an article that someone asked about.
I appreciate you doing that, and I just don't think we should be shamed here with the freedom of speech, sharing news. Look how many people showed up today because of Facebook. Look how many people are aware on the issue because social media. I don't think we should be shamed for sharing posts when news outlets in our town are saying things are happening because we're uninformed about what's going on. And I don't think the citizens of this town should be chastised for sharing a Facebook post. That's how we're getting our information. Look how many people showed up. We want to know what parcels of land are available and for sale. Also, we've been in a drought since 2016, since the fires. 10 years of drought. We were in a drought before Hurricane Helene came here. What precautions do we have if we have another hurricane and one of these facilities gets broken and the wastewater gets into our rivers? What are we setting up to prevent that? Macon County is classified in 2 degrees of drought, a D2, severe drought, and extreme drought for up towards Nantahala. If you look at as of July 2nd with the U.S. drought monitoring system for the United States, we're still in a drought. We haven't caught up in 10 years. There's got to be some protections against Macon County for letting them come here and suck up all the little bit of water we have left. Tourism is our biggest driving resource in this town. We don't need that to be ruined. If they're not cooling the generators with water, then they're going to be using diesel turbines, which are going to raise the air temperature. And guess what? We won't have any more Smoky Mountains around here when you wake up in the morning. No clouds will settle on our valley when the air temperatures rise 25 degrees from a bunch of diesel turbines. You know, we just sold off a piece of town land, the Naquatsi Mound, to the tribe. The tribe has passed a thing where no data centers can be built anywhere on tribal lands. So why can't we just sell off some of our tribal lands or offer some of our land that a data center could go into the tribe here in Macon County? There's different options. We got ways around it. I think there's too many smart people on this board to say we're just going to put some precursors, make it expensive for people to build the data center in our hometown. These people have so much money, money's not an issue to them. We got to think smarter than that. There's got to be other ways to protect our town. I appreciate your time. I'm severely concerned about what's going to happen here. You know, you look around, you get young children now that don't open the door for people. They're too busy on their phones. They don't look you in the eye. We're going to lose our Southern culture here real quick if we make AI our #1 priority. If we don't fight it. We got a lot to lose in Macon County. A lot of culture. And I just don't want to see our land get sold off to the first biggest bidder and someone getting their pockets lined on the side. I appreciate you letting us all know that we need to be at the commissioners meeting. I don't think a lot of people knew that was the case, and that there's no protection for our county outside the town limits. So I really appreciate you guys doing this for the next 12 months. I hope you take input from the town and other people that want to give you ideas of ways to prevent it from happening after the 12-month period. I hope you're open-minded to it. Thank you for your time.
Ellie Morrow.
Thank you so much. I think numbers speak volumes, and I don't know if anybody's actually on the council has actually done the numbers research. And just from Macon County alone, the population is only 39,000 people. And making 39,000 people in Macon County consume on an annual basis 60,000 gallons of water, 60,000 gallons. One data center, the Meta Data Center, which is in Forest City, uses 16.6 million gallons per year, one data center, and we currently have 93 data centers in North Carolina functioning. So for all of Macon County using 60,000 gallons per year, one data center is consuming 16 million gallons per year. People, we cannot live without water. That's just fact of life. That doesn't even include, I mean, the population of North Carolina is 11 million people, and just the residents alone are currently using 24 billion gallons per year. That does not include industry's usage, it does not include agriculture's usage, which makes it go way up. So then you get to the electricity. The North Carolina, and this is all researchable, it's from valid sites like the University of North Carolina and Chapel Hill. I'm not pulling this out of AI. And North Carolina power plants in total for all of them, that's Duke, Appalachian, all of our power resources can only provide currently 135,000 gigawatts of electricity per year. So it's 135,000 gigawatts per year for all of North Carolina is what our current power plants can provide. in the latest research that I could find for the total usage of electricity goes back 3 years, so they don't even have, and this is according to the North Carolina Utilities Commission report, and they reported in 2023 we were already consuming, let me see, 103 billion kilowatts per year. That's all into, and that's provided by all of our utilities available, Duke, Appalachian Power, everything that we have. And so that comes to a total of 103,000 gigawatts per year is what we have available, or what we're using, 103,000 per year, which only leaves us a surplus. Back in 2023, it only leaves us with a surplus of electricity of 32,000, okay? One data center, the Meta data center in Forest City, uses 500 gigawatts per year, and back in 2023 we only had a surplus available of electricity in the entire state of 32,000, and we've got 93 centers, and one center is using 500,000, or to be exact, 492,000. 492, excuse me, gigawatts. So we don't have the electricity available to spare, and we definitely don't have the water to spare. So numbers speak volumes, and when you actually, I'll give you a copy if you want, but that's what we really need to sit down and listen to and show people, is that you need to come down to facts, and the research is out there. This is provided by very legitimate sources. Like I said, the University of North Carolina, the North Carolina Utilities Commission report. So this is something very important that we need to look at, that we cannot. Yes, we have drought, but when you look at these numbers and you see the consumption, 16 million gallons of water for one data center, and we've got 93, we cannot afford this. And I will definitely be at the Macon County meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Blaine, did I pronounce it correctly?
Close enough, close enough. Folks, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention for just a couple minutes here for me to just come across a couple points that I drew up very briefly. If you do any data research, or I should say research in general on data centers, it's kind of hard to find stuff. I mean, actual numbers of what these places are producing is pretty hard. We hear a lot of numbers about water usage, electricity usage, and stuff like that, but at the employee scale, in particular, is very, very hard to find. And if you go on Google, I mean, anything, I don't even consider anything a real news source anymore, hardly, but just trying to do an average search of a bunch of different websites, it seems to be that a lot of these data center build-outs, once they're built, only average between 15 up to, for the larger scale, 150 to maybe 200, what they call FTE, full-time employees. Most of those are given out to just straight up janitors. I mean, guys that are mopping the floor, cleaning up the toilets. You have a couple guys, they're referred to as NOCs. They're typically on site between 8 and 12 of them, but all these numbers change vastly with the size and the scale of the data center itself. One thing that I want to point out that just came alive last week. Now, a gentleman that's been working in IT for the past 40 years, he brought this up to me. We were talking earlier, but I just want to share this all with you for anyone who hasn't come across this. Meta, which is Facebook, one of the bigger, what they call hyperscalers of these data centers, has openly come out and said that they now have excess computing power. And what does this mean for us, or what does this mean for anybody that might be getting a data center? Is basically you're getting a lot of planning done, a lot of site work done, water permitting, electric permitting, this whole process is being done all on the hopes of a maybe. That maybe this data center will now be rented out to another larger company. So when Meta comes out and says, yeah, we've got excess computing power, that basically says that they're pre-building these data centers in hopes to rent them out. What if Wyndham Hotels came in here and said, we're going to build a Wyndham Hotel in the middle of downtown Franklin? We don't know if anybody's going to come. We don't know if anybody's going to rent out the rooms. We have no idea. But that's just a little tidbit just to think on there. If Meta's coming out and saying that they have excess computing power, and that I did not realize this, but the gentleman was kind of explaining to me in a little bit more detail. But if this is part of their business plan, we can only expect to be more pressure from data centers. We can only expect to have more sites that are being planned to build. And one thing, I might be young, I'm 35 years old, but I've worked on a lot of different aspects of a lot of different businesses, mainly in construction. And one thing that people need to realize is that when it comes to these extremely large build-outs is, can everybody hear me in the back there? Yes. Well, one thing that people need to realize when these large build-outs happen, your local electrician is not going to get hired. Your local HVAC company is not going to get hired. The closest thing that would make sense, only because of transportation costs, is the asphalt plants and the concrete plants would probably get the most of the business if a data center was able to weasel their way in here. So whenever these big build-outs happen, basically what happens is, I don't want to call it the good old boy network, but basically, if you want to build a couple houses, you approach your builder and you say, hey, I want to build this house. And you call HVAC contractors, you got your electricians, you got everybody that comes in. You kind of have some companies that do really good, and you got some companies that do really bad. And what you do after that, you're going to say, you know what, house number 1 is built, we're going to move on to house number 2. You're going to do the bid process all over again. These contractors are going to come in, they're going to put in their bids, but what's going to happen is these national companies that have good working relationships with the companies who are physically paying for these build-outs, I don't want to call it, once again, it's not a good old boy network or backdoor deals, but if you have a contractor that you've worked with and they have done everything that you've required, they've been on time, guess what? It doesn't matter if your bid is 5,000 below, or in this case, 5 million below, 5 million above. It doesn't matter. The numbers don't matter. They're going to continue to work with these people. And the point of what I'm trying to say is, we're not equipped locally with the contractors to deal with a build out like this, okay? Jay Davis right now, I work in Highlands and Cashiers every single day, okay? I work with multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires. I service their air conditioning units. I mean, I've met one of the largest overseas arms dealers in the world. He has a house in Cashiers, okay? I deal with really big money people every single day. And what ends up happening is that you get these big contractors that work with national companies that have a great working relationship with another large company. They're going to be hired out of South Carolina. They're going to be hired out of Charlotte. None of this money is going to recirculate back eventually to the town of Franklin. It's just going to get shot out everywhere else. And you can call it American jobs, that's fine, but here in Franklin, we need jobs here. We need money to stay here. We need money to circulate here to help local people pay their bills. I mean, there's a lot of big talking points that a lot of people like to talk about, and one of them being tax breaks. Am I okay on time? I got a little bit more?
We're good on time. I mean, you're done.
Well, if I'm done, thank you very much, folks. That's all I got.
All right, Betsy Based.
I'm last.
I can't thank you enough for bringing up the issue, for looking at it, and for caring the way you do about what's going to happen within the town. It makes me want to move to town, so find me a home. And I'm proud. I would be proud to be a Franconian because I don't live in town. I live in Otto, where there's lots of land, and so that's a very, very scary thought. So I'm going to go a different direction because I agree with what everyone said, from the woman who's going to give her house to her grandchildren, to Nathan in vote him out. Whatever it takes to make sure that we protect our heritage, our land, our resources. And how do we do that? Number one, showing up next Tuesday, 100%. Everybody behind me can hear me? Yeah. Next Tuesday, County Courthouse. Here's the problem. When we get there, it's going to be already full, because if this many people come and you all tell a friend, which you should, maybe they'll move us upstairs. We need a big, big voice. Last Thursday, I was at the Macon County Planning Board meeting for a different hotbed issue, but they brought up this moratorium issue. And I don't think any of you were there. I don't know if any of you heard about it, but you should talk to some of the people who are on the town planning board. There wasn't that kind of commitment. And I'm warning everybody behind me, in the room, there wasn't the commitment that you all have to stop this from happening. And so I can't stress enough the importance of showing up at the Macon County Commissioners meeting. If you think your voice doesn't matter, it does matter, because this is a very diverse group of people. This is not just all one way of thinking. This is the community coming together and caring about our space. So the planning board doesn't have a whole lot of power either. They have way less power than you guys do. But they make recommendations. They couldn't even commit to, geez, maybe we should say no data centers? Should we say that? I don't think we can say that. We don't have enough research. They couldn't even, from a moral standpoint, commit to, hey, I'm not for this. So that's a red flag for me. Secondly, if you go to ncleg.gov, that is our North Carolina legislature, and that's where you will find all of the representatives from the Senate and the House. You can get Carl Gillespie's phone number, Kevin Corbin's phone number, and their email addresses. You got to start talking to them now, because 100%, you have very little power, and the laws bind us, and those are the guys that make the laws. So unless we start making some noise to them and letting them know, hey, you know what? This is an election year, guys. This is an election year, and maybe you want to protect this beautiful state of North Carolina. Right. And so it's up to us. And then the last thing is, we all have a personal responsibility. I teach technology, and there are 100 ways to minimize your use of AI. And it's not difficult, but it does take a little bit of effort to get into that habit, because what they're building for is supply and demand. They see it like, oh, you pick up your phone, oh, all of a sudden I have AI every time I ask a question. I have to work hard to not use AI. And so if we care that much about it, we have to take that extra step and not use AI for anything. Then there's no demand.
All right, Betsy was the last speaker on the list. As I close this public hearing, I want to say thank you one more time. I'm going to say something here. You think about the condition of politics on the national level, right? Pretty divisive. But I know a lot of people in the room, and I can tell you there are Democrats, Republicans, and independents in this room, all united by one thing, and that is that they care for this community. So thank you again. All right, at the close of the public hearing, I would entertain a motion to adopt a temporary moratorium on new data center development within the town of Franklin's planning jurisdiction.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion, a second, and a third. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Yay. Motion carries. All right, this board is going to take a 5-minute recess. You can stay around for the rest of the agenda, or feel free to leave if you'd like. And thank you one more time. Yeah. All right.
A few minutes later.
All right. Item 11A. Request approval of memorandum of understanding and funding request between Main Street Franklin, Inc. and the town of Franklin. Our Assistant Town Manager, Finance Director, Sarah Bishop.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. In front of you have the memorandum of understanding and the funding request from Main Street Franklin, Inc., which is the newly formed nonprofit that is going to take ownership for helping to steer getting us back into the Main Street program and all of the directives and strategic plans that we're creating to go along with that. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm sure you're sad to hear that. But you guys all have the MOU here in your packet, and then the funding request is for the $60,000 that was allocated in the budget this year for the program. And you can see some of the key initiatives listed here. If you have questions about any of them, or if there's anything I can answer in regards to these documents, I'll be glad to. But it's all focused around downtown revitalization, economic development. Really, right now, a key focus is getting back into the Main Street program so we can get access to a lot of grant funding and networking opportunities that will help as well.
You got a question?
I have a question. Both documents, the letter and the MOU, talks about an annual work plan and a budget plan and all that. When would that be due?
You mean for the nonprofit?
Yeah.
So we have, the board of the nonprofit has been working together, and we have developed an annual budget and work plan as of right now. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but I assume we're going to do that on an annual basis.
But you do have one currently?
Yes, we have just recently gathered all of that documentation and had our first board meeting to approve everything.
All right. I would entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Funding agreement as well. We need to approve the funding allocation as well.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the funding allocation for Main Street Franklin Inc. in the amount of $60,000.
So moved. Go ahead, Reed. I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Do you want to announce the next one? I'm sorry, you guys have to listen to me for a few items tonight.
You go right ahead. Item B.
Okay. So this is also a Main Street program item. I'm really excited about this. We've got another application for an incentive grant. This is for Franklin Machine Company on Depot Street. We've had to do a little bit of work back and forth, and I want to give Angela props. She's been helping a lot as well with their sign permit, helping us to get that lined up before this came to you guys, and they have been approved, so they are good to go. But they are going to do some painting and some new signage, and it's going to look really great. I hope you guys saw the pictures in the packet. Just really appreciate them being willing to put in that kind of investment. So you've got their application here for the incentive grant. It'd be because of the amount that they would be spending on the cost of the painting, they would qualify for the full $5,000 match, and then the $500 match on the sign. So looking for $5,500 to help supplement their project.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'm glad to see that people are starting to get word about this, and nothing would make me happier than to have to double this come next budget cycle.
Especially down Depot Street.
Any further discussion?
Did they say how they heard about it?
They did not. The new owner of the company reached out to me directly, but I don't know how he found them. Sorry, I can ask.
It looks reminiscent of the way the building looked in the old days, which I think is pretty cool. So.
I think it'd be good to know.
I'll be glad to ask him. Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all raise your hand to approve. Motion carries. Item C.
Thank you. So for my most exciting item on the agenda, a GASB item. Now this is a request for a renewal of our contract with DebtBook, who is our third-party vendor that we use that helps us with our GASB reporting to make sure we're staying in line with all of the new GASB regulations. It's been a wonderful product for us. We've been using it about 3 years now, I believe. to really help us to streamline and help our audit processes to go very well. So we are requesting a 5-year contract with DevOp. So I brought that before you tonight if you guys would be willing to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Nobody's going to ask what it is.
You read the stuff, you know it.
That's right.
Okay, let's go.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Bring on the Great Gatsby.
All right. Item D, request waiver of availability fees and ongoing usage fees for Southwestern Community College Burn Building Project. Town Manager Amy Owens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. We do have Dr. Don Thomas and Curtis Dowdle here tonight, and so I'm going to just let them explain what their request is, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Ms. Bishop, would you like to take this presentation? Because you're on a roll. 3 for 3, I thought maybe it'd be a good time to turn it over to you and allow you to go ahead and do that. Mr. Mayor and members of the Town Council, thank you for the opportunity just to come before you today. As was mentioned, President of Southwestern Community College, and we've had an outstanding partnership with you all historically for more than 40 years with our current burn building project that we have out at Public Safety and Training. And Mr. Dowell is with us. And we have a new project going on. But this new project has been one that we've been working with county government to finance and fund and to get this project off the ground. Approximately, for those of you that have been around this long, for approximately 10 years this project has been in the making for us. It's taken on different forms and different shapes, but this is a new fire rescue training burn prop. We're calling it a burn prop instead of a burn building, but our old burn building was rendered past its life stage approximately 10 years ago. I think, Curtis, is when we got the letter from them. So that's why this has been an ongoing, and it's been extremely important for us as a community college to provide the services of fire rescue training, not only for Macon County, but for our whole region. And I'll let Curtis maybe mention that to you also. But in your packets, you received a letter from Curtis and myself, but granting this waiver would be a direct investment in the safety and preparedness of local emergency personnel. We view this as a vital partnership between the town of Franklin and Southwestern Community College to ensure our mutual first responders receive the highest quality training without undue financial strain and educational resources. For more than the past 40 years in our current facilities, we have 2 fire hydrants, and you all have been gracious enough to allow us to use those for the training at our facility without any burden of cost, of financial cost. We're asking that to be continued with the new facility, and once we have it up and running, and our intent is that it's on track to be up and running by the end of this year. And then also, we're asking for a waiver of the availability fee in the amount of $49,700. So that's the 2 requests, are the waiver of the availability fee for our partnership, and then the ongoing usage fees. I'll let Curtis maybe speak to, on the second page, some of the volumes of the water usage, because it's really not an ongoing process. The new facility will have probably less water usage because there will be some technology used with it that can do some burns without having to use water to put the burns out, so we can shut it on, flip a switch, turn it on, shut it off, and give real life scenarios without having to do a tremendous amount of what we would call live burns. So I'll let Curtis maybe mention to him, or to you all, some of the usage times and what the volumes may look like.
Sir. Good afternoon, good evening, I guess now. We're into that as well. Appreciate you having us here. As Dr. Thomas said, my name's Curtis Dowell. I'm from Macon County, lifelong resident too. I have the honor of serving as Dean of Public Safety Training. So I get to oversee all of our EMS, law enforcement, and fire rescue training too. Historically, I've served with Franklin Fire Rescue for about 15 years before I took over as Director of Public Safety Training and just didn't have the time to commit. I've been a part of the current burn building, which is located at the end of the soccer fields, which is close to 40 years old. It's in a floodplain, and the life expectancy of the building, we've surpassed that too. We've tried to supplement it with some Connex boxes to take the load off, but right now it's decaying in such a manner it's unsafe for us to do live burns for our firefighters that are serving in our county too. So having said that, when it was condemned, we had to come up with a plan and then getting funding to do that as well, and it's taken many years to come to this point to where we're getting close to it as well. So the water has always been provided by the town of Franklin to the 2 hydrants that are located at the current burn building that we have too. Now, when we talk about reduction of the use of water that we will with the new facility, the facility we currently have only uses Class A materials, which we're using wooden pallets and wood structure to do that. So it takes a little bit more water when we're actually trying to put those live burns out that we do. Now, it's important for you to understand that having the facility here is a benefit for each department in our service area, not just Macon County, but Jackson County, Swain, and the Qualla Boundary, because they get to use those points towards ISO ratings, which reduces that as well. It also gives them a facility to do facility training, which gives them more points towards lowering their ISO rating, which means taxpayer dollars are saved by lower insurance rates. The insurance company might not like that, but we do. But also training the firefighters in a realistic training environment with that too. So with the new burn prop that we have, it will be a Class A, but it'll also be using LP gas in conjunction with that. So it will be shorter bursts because of the sensors that we have. When the firefighters do it correctly, it extinguishes the fire quicker, if that makes sense. There's also some digital technology that we have that we can utilize for fire extinguisher training so that we're not using as much chemicals and things of that nature when we do the training for our firefighters. And for that instance, any public that wants to do fire extinguisher training, stuff like that, school systems, stuff like that, we can utilize it as well too. So as it outlines in there, the water-based training reduced during the winter months and then during the heat of the summer too. We don't utilize that facility as much too. So most training occurs at night. It's in 4-hour blocks, and the water is supplied in those short 5 to 10 second bursts and seconds at a time with rotation periods between evolutions as we go through that. The water shuttle classes that we do, they require a lot more water, but we utilize the rivers and things like that to draw the water out. But it is placed back into the water, into the river once they finish that. And that's used when they're testing their ISO ratings too. And this is from the Office of State Fire Marshal, all these requirements that the departments have to do as well too. So when we're filling those tankers, things like that, a lot of times they do like to use hydrants, but that's usually not the hydrants that are located at the burn building that we have. Those are hydrants located elsewhere in the community. Why do they like to fill their pumpers and stuff with from hydrants? Is because of the clean water that they get, and it's less chance that they will get debris in the tankers and the pumpers, because those can hurt the engines themselves and cause damage and cost money to replace and repair those as well as you go forward with that too. So the technology that we have with the new facility will reduce the amount of water usage that we currently have as well. Another thing that we don't think of, because we're in the floodplain, we usually get about 3 to 5 floods a year to where it puts mud and stuff into the current burn building as well. and we have to utilize hoses to clean that out so that we can do anything there. So if it gets up behind the armory where the new one, the old National Guard armory where it's going now, we're in serious trouble at that point too. So any questions you have about the facility or the usage of water?
I have a couple of questions. And maybe our staff can help answer this too. Are the meters, or excuse me, the hydrants that you're using, are they metered at all?
You can put a meter on the hydrant. I mean, it's just a portable meter.
But they're currently not?
Currently, there are not.
Okay. And then, so the usage, so by them not being metered, that's how we're exempting the usage fee. The water coming from the hydrant, correct?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know we weren't charging for the water that they've been using for all these years.
Well, and the reason I ask is because we saw that there is a water bill on that property that apparently Macon County has been paying. But I'm just wondering, is that separate from the usage from the fire?
It would be separate, yes.
Okay. We do have a small building that's on the facility too, that's up on the bluff where we store equipment. It does have a restroom in it and a sink in there where we clean some equipment. That's probably the one that is metered there as well.
Right. And so when you're asking for the waiver on the usage fee, you're asking to continue not to meter those fire?
The hydrants, strictly the hydrants, yes sir.
And remind me, how often are they used?
It varies from month to month as far as when they schedule facility training on that too. Some months in the spring, we'll get several weeks at a time to where they're coming to utilize it because the weather's cooler and the call volume's low, and everybody's trying to get their facility training hours in on that too. But we try to be flexible because we're working with volunteers mainly. So we do Saturday training as well to get their hours in too. So it's a variation of what the department needs are as well. And the departments that are coming in, from the different counties do that as well. We did get appropriation to purchase a fire apparatus that would allow the agencies to come and train without removing apparatus from their jurisdiction too, to help support the operations of the different agencies too. And that was Carl Gillespie and Senator Corbin on that too, and that was a $500,000 initiative that they were able to get us that apparatus from the state.
So what I can say is just based on the calculations, maximum calculations, based on these numbers, at the 10,000 gallons, the annual cost would be $25,152. If it was the half, if it was the 5,000 gallons, it'd be $12,576. But that's for the entire year.
Is there an inside water rate that might be used to still charge to recoup some of our costs?
No, this is just based on the hydrant rate per 1,000 gallons.
The hydrant rate is less per gallon than what is the normal? Okay.
I have two questions. I see ventilation equipment. Is there any fire suppression system built into this building that requires water?
It has an emergency switch to where it's a sprinkler system to where if something goes bad, we can hit the button and it'll extinguish whatever fire that we have in the building too. And it shuts off any gas that is coming into the building as well. And the ventilation system is to get all the air out so that we're creating a safe environment for our firefighters.
Second question on the availability fee. Have you approached the county about helping to pay for that?
Well, the county is responsible for all brick and mortar as far as it goes for the community college system as well.
I think
they've not been approached.
I think part of your question can be answered that yes, they've supplied funding. I think and this has been ongoing for a few years, so I know I'm going to be quoted on this, unfortunately, but it's been over $2 million that they put forward to help with this project. We were fortunate this is how long it's been going on, as we talk about the length of the project. We're using some bond money from 2016. That's 10 years ago.
Well, and the cost
So
has obviously gone up as well.
Well, it has, yes, sir. And so we have had to go back to the county because under 115D-32 of the General Assembly, they're responsible for certain things as a county to support community colleges. And one of that is, as Mr. Curtis was saying, is facilities, maintenance, and things of that nature. But they also has given us a little over, well, it's well over $2 million to help with this project. So I think the short answer is yes, they've been approached because all this is part of that package of the construction cost. Yes, ma'am.
How about Jackson, Swain, and the Boundary? Have they been approached to pay part of the water bill or the other fee?
No, ma'am. State legislators have fee exempted any public safety professional when they're taking training. So any firefighter that comes, or public safety professional that comes, is fee exempt from tuition.
I know, but how about the county?
The county is responsible, Jackson County is responsible for the Jackson campus and brick and mortar there, and Swain County is responsible for that too, but no, they have not been approached for that too.
I think another residual side effect of the facility, public safety and training in Franklin, Macon County, resides here. We haven't duplicated any of these programs anywhere else within our 3-county service area. What that brings to you and to Franklin and to Macon County is the economic development aspect of it, with all the people that are coming into Franklin and Macon County to take the training, and if it's 1 or 2 days or whatever, you've got some lodging occasionally, but you've got the meals and you've got all that other aspect to it. So, we're just looking for the win-win. I understand and fully respect the concern of the cost, but there's also the economic, part of it that comes into Franklin and Macon County that can help offset some of that.
I'm not as troubled, I don't think, about waiving the availability fee. Maybe I should be, but that's not high on my list. But just the fact that we are the producers of the water by chance, I don't think it's on us to just give that away for all the people.
I agree with you.
I don't mind a meter fee, and I think that if we had a meter fee, you all should aggressively go and get the county to help cover that, because, this is the Southwestern Commission. It's closer to Macon County than it is to town of Franklin, and town of Franklin is a part of the county. But that's just kind of where I'm thinking.
I'm with you as far as, I don't think I have a problem with waiving that availability fee, but when we're using taxpayer and bill people that fund that water system, I didn't realize that we'd been giving it away. I wasn't aware of that. So, until Amy had told me a week or so ago, I think I'm where you're at on that. So.
You're saying the pay that we do as a gift of $49,000, but not the monthly water.
Yeah. That's where I'm just one person, but that's kind of where I'm at on it. I know that apparently we've been doing that, but I wasn't aware of that.
Well, how about we break this into 2 parts? And at this point, I think we have sufficient information. It's $39,700, is that correct? $49,700.
Yes.
So I would entertain a motion on the availability fee waiver, and then we can talk about the usage fee.
I make a motion that we approve the availability fee.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I agree with that.
All in favor? All right, motion carries. Now, let's discuss the usage fee. Is there another fee structure besides the standard fee structure that could apply to this?
It's based on consumption off of that hydrant. It runs through the meter.
Okay.
It
I'm sorry, I forgot the term for what Mr. Collins was talking about in terms of
Consumption.
Are you talking about like commercial inside and outside rates and things like that? It's not that same thing because it's based strictly on consumption.
On volume.
Yeah, and it's based on 1,000 gallon consumption. So if they only use 500, that meter's, not gonna reflect that base minimum. I mean, it's gonna reflect that base minimum on 1,000 gallons.
If they use 500, the meter's gonna read 1,000?
No, the meter's gonna read 500, but because it's a base rate, they're gonna be charged for 1,000.
For 1,000. We don't have an alternative to that.
Bill?
The only other way would be the bulk water rate.
What is the bulk water rate?
You want to explain it, David?
No, go ahead.
On a bulk water rate, you get a base rate of 18,000 gallons at a certain amount, and then it's prorated depending on where it falls within that 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000. It's prorated depending on where that meter ends at the end of the month. So they wouldn't necessarily be paying the full 18,000 gallons if they only use 10. So if they use 10, that rate structure's broke down in that fee. You're just paying for the usage that was on that meter.
So in the months that you wouldn't be using any at all, it would read 0.
Right. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they have requested a 6-inch Badger meter on a line coming to that building because we've got one in our budget to purchase a 6-inch meter. Now, I don't know what the other conversations were, but the hydrant meters could be an option for that new bulk water rate.
Mr. Deal, you thought you'd get away without speaking tonight, by the way.
I thought I was going to get away with it.
So I have a proposal. What if we table the usage fee tonight? Is that gonna mess with your timeline? If we table it, then what I would suggest is that the town manager and I, along with you all, meet with the county manager and see if there's some way to talk to the county about some help in terms of the usage fee, because it really is a problem for us that when we're charging our regular customers to produce the water. Otherwise, I think you'd see this board say absolutely in terms of partnership. Sure. I think it'd be a good idea for us to sit down with the county and see if we can't figure out some sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully respect that. Absolutely.
And I don't think that will hold the project up either, because I think what we've been waiting on is to understand the availability fee, because they've not been able, I don't know if I'm correct, they've not been able to tap the lines yet because they've not got the permit from the county. But if that's waived, then when we know what the fee is, we'll be able to move forward with the construction project. And then that, so essentially we've got until November.
Yeah,
we've got some time as far as usage fees to try to figure something out. That's that part too.
Is there any idea of how many gallons a year you guys go through?
We haven't had anything metered, so yeah. I know, we've had that same question internally. Like, Curtis, can you tell me how much? That's a tough one.
It differs from time to time. Like I said, it's based on usage of the agencies that we serve. When they call and say we want to come down.
Throughout the whole southeast?
Our main focus is our service area was Jackson, Macon, Swain, and the Qualla boundary as well. So we have 10 departments in Franklin that have roughly 345 firefighters that serve. Some paid, most are volunteer in that too. Jackson County has 10 agencies, about the same amount. That's including Cashers. And of course, Macon County is including Highlands and Nantahala too. And then Swain County has 3 agencies. Bryson City, West Swain, and Alarka department that they have too. So, you know, a lot smaller departments on that too. Cherokee Reservation would have the largest full-time firefighter employees over, but they do come over regularly and utilize the facility because of the full-time that they have and the need they have for the usage on that too.
Is the council good with that?
I concur with that recommendation.
Absolutely. Great. All right, we'll work on setting up a meeting. We'll get together and see if we can figure that out.
That sounds great. Thank you. Thank you all for your time and consideration just to hear the story. All right. Thank you.
All right, item number E, request additional extension of payment for demolition of a non-compliant structure. Town manager and town attorney.
If you'll recall, starting as far back as August of 2023, the structure at 981 East Main Street was out of compliance and it was demolished after we went through the public process for that. The property owners signed a lien forbearance agreement April the 15th, 2024. And they did not sell the property. That lien forbearance gave them 12 months to repay. In June of 2025, they returned to the council and requested a 12-month extension with an 8% interest rate. And that ended on June the 2nd of this year. On June the 24th, the property owners came and met with me and requested an additional extension. They said they would pay the 8% that was owed plus $6,000, but they wanted an extension for the remaining $10,000.
Have they paid anything?
No. Not at this point.
And I think the intent of last year's visit was to extend another year and hopefully sell them. We had entered into the same agreement we'd had for the first year where they were trying to sell it. It didn't sell. They came back, we said, okay, go another year. I think that's what they're asking for.
So they want to pay the interest.
They want to pay the interest and $6,000 of the $16,000.
How much is the total bill?
$16,000 was the original.
$16,000?
Yeah.
They're going to pay 6 plus the interest and then one another year? I mean,
To pay the remaining 10, yes.
if we said no and started getting aggressive, we'd burn that money up quicker than waiting on it, wouldn't we?
Well, yeah, what would we do? I mean, why didn't they pay the 6,000 plus the 8? I mean,
Because that was not what was agreed to. They agreed to pay when the 12 months was up, their agreement was $16,000, which was the cost that it cost us to demolish it, plus 8% because we were giving them additional time to pay it back. This is the second extension. So they've had 24 months already, and they're asking for an additional 12 months.
How does the interest accrue? Does it accrue, or is it just a one-time lump sum?
It's just
simple per annum interest.
Yeah, simple interest?
Yes.
I mean, one thing the board might consider, instead of simple interest, is compounding interest.
Or just go up to 10% or something like that. I mean, you know, yeah, get some premium out of it, but still, the numbers are not going to be in our favor if we start having to aggressively. And I understand it's tied up in a trust or something, and nobody wants to pay it out of their own pocket. They'd rather sell the property.
Well, I was going to say, it's obvious that we're not going to get fully paid until it gets sold.
Let's tell them 10 or 12%.
We've had 3 other properties that have been demolished, and none of them have been given that same option.
So what, I mean, we say no. And then they don't pay. We'll lose more money trying to chase that than we will keeping it on the books. I mean, that's, practically speaking, that's what I say, that's where
I mean, yeah, you go get, like Joe, you go get a judgment. The judgment would be, it'd sit there until you tried to levy on it. Mm-hmm. And then if you levied on it and then you didn't, I think when they do that, they go to the property and try to find something to levy on that's real personal property, not real property, and there's nothing there. And then it would sit there and accrue at probably 8% unless you foreclosed it. And you could add foreclosure costs on top of it. So I do think the foreclosure at the end of the day would keep you from having to come out of additional pocket for that, but it's a ways down the road.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I think it'd make a dandy data center. I mean, that's just...
Dude!
So we say that we'll take the 6,000 with the 8% now, and then the 10,000 will be at 12% or 10%.
That's totally up to you all.
Do you think that, I mean...
Well, I'm just telling you, if that house doesn't, if that property doesn't sell within the prescribed amount of time, they're gonna come back and ask again.
But the 6, at least...
It's not, we're not gonna get our money until that place sells. They're obviously not gonna pay anything.
But if you don't think they'll pay the 6,000 that he said that they'd pay?
Yeah, they said they'd do that.
But this is gonna go on and on and on until it sells. We'll be doing this again next year.
If we
And I guess that's fine
if we
too.
get 10% interest knowing we got security, I don't mind doing that.
Well, I don't either. It's just what I'm saying is until that property sells, we're not gonna get made whole.
That's right.
Period.
That's right, but...
So,
What are they asking for that property?
I have no idea.
Well, that was $500,000 right at,
I say, Stacy, I say take their offer, but bump it up to 10% for the next year.
You want to put that in a motion?
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Say that again.
That they agreed to pay the interest plus the $6,000.
What they've agreed to right now.
Yes, in that we would accept that, but going forward, the interest on the principal outstanding would be 10%.
And that's simple interest, or is that compound?
It gets run through the amortization table, just 10% interest.
Is that a motion that's clear enough? Is that, yes. You look like you have a question, Sarah.
No, as long as John's clear, he'll keep me clear, we're good.
It's easy enough to write in, it's harder to get paid off. It was when we trying to, anyway. Yeah, please keep it simple interest, I think would be our request.
All right, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Wait a minute, yeah.
I think the motion is to accept the $6,000 provided it's at, yeah.
8%.
And the interest.
And 8% interest
And
provided.
accrued interest.
The remainder, 10,000 is going to be at 10% interest.
For the next 12 months.
Yes.
So, just clarification, we are going to be collecting from them $6,000 payment and the interest based on the 8% up till June 2nd. And then next year is when they would be looking at a 10%.
They're looking, going forward.
Going forward.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're clear on the expectation.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Rita already seconded.
Is she still second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? What recourse do we have if they don't pay what they've agreed to pay?
I think foreclosure is possible.
Okay.
What does that actually mean, John? That we would just foreclose on the property?
Yeah. We've done it on occasion when there was not, the lien never got paid. The one on Hillcrest Street. It wound up being part of the Shields property over there.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. All right, motion carries. Item F, request appointment of member to the Franklin Firefighters Relief Fund Board, Fire Chief Justin Setzer.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. So the Franklin Fire Department has a Fireman's Relief Board, and we recently had one member that was on that board who was serving as the town of Franklin, one of the town of Franklin's representatives on that board moved out of state and is no longer able to serve. It's a 5-person board for a little bit of history. 2 members are appointed by the fire department, 2 by the town of Franklin, and 1 by the state fire marshal's office. Obviously, the person that moved out, I said, is the town of Franklin's. The fire department itself, as we did the last time we did this, took recommendations from people inside the fire department who would like to serve. So the fire department took nominations, and Assistant Chief Brian Hersey expressed his interest for filling that seat, and that's the name we have before you tonight as a recommendation to serve on your behalf on there if you would like him to be served.
Do I hear a motion to appoint Mr. Hersey to the Franklin Firefighters Relief Fund Board?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Thank you, Mr. Setzer. All right, item G, request appointment of members via ballot for the Franklin Tourism Development Authority, 3 vacancies, and the ABC Board, 1 vacancy. Madam Manager, would you explain for the benefit of the public how we do these votes?
They are by ballot. They are all signed by each individual member so that they are available to the public. They remain as a public record. The seats that are open for the TDA are 3-year seats, and they'll be through June the 30th of 2029. The 1 seat that's open for the Franklin ABC Board is for 3 years, and it's until May 5th. The current individual who is seated will continue to serve until the replacement is named.
Thank you. All right, you have your paper ballots.
Got a pen, John?
Pass this one down.
Proper keyword.
All right, while town council does that, I'm taking a short mayor's recess.
I know what you mean.
And if you will take your ballots and send them to Nicole, she will tally them.
I'll read them first.
Oh, wow.
Don't need to fold them.
We sending everything down?
Yeah. Because then that way, while she's counting, if the mayor comes back quick enough, we can start the reports from the...
Yeah. Allie. You got a nice mirror, Mama. You get 5. You count some more. Well, 1 score 2, 3, 4.
Everybody get to sleep in? They're going to say target him, that he's going to get injured before it's all said.
I didn't see me out, but you know, he's come knock on the door and comes in to do something.
I was gonna say that.
Well, you ought to. We'll let Molly and Maggie wear him out, and then we'll send him back to you.
He is if you would one of us learned something for 5 years.
It's got to be that kind. Yeah.
Those ribbons.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to vote again?
She loved that
Go
one.
ahead and say that. Call it back in. Stacy.
Ms. Bradley, you have results?
I do for ABC Board. 6 LVO, Alton Sutton Jr. is reappointed to the ABC Board.
See y'all.
For TDA, Rob Reel is reappointed and Daniel Walton, but I have a three-way tie with 2 votes each. So I guess we need to each vote again for either Bob Scott, actually, sorry, 4-way tie. For Bob Scott, Connie Lee Miller-Gruberman, Abigail James, and Steve Crabtree. All 4 of those got 2 votes.
Vote again.
So if you'll vote for one out of those 4. Six.
What if you go to the exact same? It's still a tie, right?
Exact same. Does the mayor not have to work a timely situation?
That's a good question.
Not with that many people. He can't, if it was 2 people, you could break the tie, but there's 4 people, so you can't break it. Now, if there happens to be a tie after this, then yes, you break that tie.
That's on you, Stacy. Don't choose your own. I gotta deal with them.
Oh, you're voting again. The only time to lobby each other?
You just vote for one.
No pressure, but hurry up.
I don't think Miami is more fun than this.
Name's not like that.
It's a nice pen. And then you got gifted.
Of course.
4-2, Steve Crabtree.
All right, who are the appointees again?
Steve Crabtree, Daniel Walton, who spoke tonight, and Rob Reel.
All right. Congratulations. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Can we dispense with a formal presentation of the department updates? I'm just asking.
As someone who's about to go on a vacation for the first time in years, I would entertain such a motion. No offense to the department heads, but...
I'll second that motion.
All right, great. I'll entertain a motion to dispense with item 12 from the agenda.
I made that motion.
I hear a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand.
Joe's gonna get my update.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
you didn't go around the room with items from council and ask.
Okay, we're going to do this quickly. We didn't do items from council. Mr. Barry, Mr. Tompa, Mike, Rita, Travis, and Joe.
Okay, just checking.
All right, next town council meeting is Monday, August the 3rd. Special call meeting, joint meeting with the ABC Board, Tuesday, July 14th at 8 a.m. here in the Town Hall boardroom. I'm sorry, Rita, that it's at 8 a.m. Picking on the Square, July 11th and July 25th, 6 p.m. over Gazebo Square. This motion to adjourn. Motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Meeting adjourned.